That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.
During the 1970s, relations between the Soviet Union and the United States were quickly deteriorating. Both the CIA and KGB were engaged in a fierce intelligence arms race. While the US felt confident in its technological superiority, reports began to come in that perhaps the Soviets were developing intelligence-gathering methods based around more paranormal techniques. The CIA immediately took the initiative to try and assess the operational value of different types of psychic abilities. Acquiring government funding for almost a decade, the CIA laid the groundwork for similar projects to be developed by the US Army and Air Force. The project culminated in a United States airman seemingly able to locate a downed Russian spy plane that crashed into the thick jungles of the Central African Republic. Satellite imaging had failed to locate the aircraft, but the young volunteer reportedly was able to provide sets of coordinates that led a recovery team directly to the crash site. This case file joined the theorists as they stumble through the doors of extrasensory perception for a little bit of remote viewing.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 226. Remote viewing. I'm Braden.
Wrong, you're Dragon.
If I think
You fucked up already, dude.
I think deeply, I believe my name is Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
What's going on? This is the last part. If you're listening to this podcast live, we're not in Texas, but if you're listening to it on Friday, we're in Austin, Texas. We're probably knee deep in some trouble.
Yeah.
Barbecue sauce.
We will not be, though, climbing on any buildings late night.
Slathered in barbecue sauce.
No. Listen, the shenanigans need to be at an all-time low, boys. I don't want to get fucking shot.
Yeah. Is it an open carry state?
It's, I believe it is.
Pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's any place that's open carry, it's got to be Texas.
I asked a few, and they said it's open carry except for, depends on the business and government buildings or not.
Yeah, so we're going to avoid all fucking like clock towers. Can't be doing any of that. Anytime you see a tumbleweed, we got to fuck off. I could run the risk, boys.
It's going to be fun. But we said...
Just stay off the streets at high noon. Just don't. Just stay out. Stay indoors.
But we said the next time we took a trip is when we would do a case file on remote viewing. Everyone's favorite, what do you call it? A psycho investigation technique.
It's and it's interesting because we've wanted to do this with a trip and we haven't been able to for so long because we always thought that we could do that, try to make some predictions to a place we've never been, and then we're going to be there so we can see if any of our conscious projections come true.
How powerful are our brains?
Exactly. Do you guys want to? I have a random card generator. I thought we could start it off just for some fun. I've got a couple, but maybe I'll pull them up throughout the show to break it up a little bit. But we can do some psychic guesses. So I have a random card generator.
Okay.
Zell, I'll start with you.
Wait. Before you start, I took some notes on remote viewing, so I need to get in the zone here.
Yeah.
I need to get in the zone.
And as you're getting in the zone, I'll just let you know right now that I can see the card on my second screen here, and I am projecting the image of the card to you right now. I'm focusing on the card.
Okay, I'm going to make
Professor X over here.
I'm going to make my mind an empty rice bowl. I'm going to quiet my imagination, and I'm going to remote view the target. So you want me to guess? Is it my turn to guess? I'm guessing first?
Yeah, it's your turn first.
I sense a low card, red card, a 3.
Holy shit.
Are you kidding me?
Shit.
I'm powerful.
3 of hearts.
Bro.
That's
Zalarius.
unbelievable.
I'm powerful. I have a 3-step process.
Wow.
Hey,
Dude, that was impressive.
Look at that. Big brain.
Unbelievable.
Got a big brain here.
All right, Andrew. What do you?
turn?
Yeah, hold on. I got to set it up. Okay.
I got to get in the zone for this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, again, the card. I'm projecting the card here.
First, Andrew,
Andrew's got his hat on.
make your mind an empty rice bowl. Keep your imagination quiet, and then remote view the target.
I'm thinking of it now. I'm picturing the card in my head, and I'm
Lube it up
sending
and put
it
it in
to
my
you.
brain.
Yeah,
Lube it up and put it in my brain.
I'm giving it
I'm
to
ready.
you.
My body's ready. Close my eyes. This card, it bears a resemblance to myself. It's wearing a crown.
Card's wearing a crown.
It's got a sword. It's a king. I'm going to say King of Spades.
Pretty
close!
Pretty close.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
You guys got this is unbelievable.
Okay. Well,
I 2 for 2, and Andrew,
Well, I
you
didn't
were
get this-
that's not
It
quite
was close.
I-
Not
Okay.
quite.
Hey, boy,
pretty
I got a little
close.
CTE, so come on, give me something.
That was pretty close. I'm actually pleasantly
little-
surprised that I was like, these are all going to be so off. All right, Dan, do you need to get in the zone here?
10 of clubs.
10 of clubs.
Just goes
Okay,
for
hold on. I haven't even start the generator yet. Sorry. Hold on. Okay, I've got it.
Get in the zone, Dan.
Hold on.
Rice bowl.
Let me picture it. I'm sending it to you, Dan.
Sending it through.
Give it to him.
It's 10 of clubs.
You're really off, Dan. It's obviously the T206 Honus Wagner baseball card.
Oh, wow.
The rarest
Vintage.
baseball card on earth.
That's
but
a vintage card right there.
I mean,
Honus Wagner.
yeah,
We
give it your
didn't
best shot.
give it
I
the
mean,
best
I'll
shot.
be honest with you. I expected more from you, Dan. I thought if anybody's going to be able to nail this, it would be you, but
It was close. I mean, you give it a valiant effort. You know, had you thought about it a little more, maybe not rushed your answer,
it's fair.
maybe would have had a bit of a better outcome. But we'll try again in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll continue on. Let's get into remote. People always ask like remote viewing. We know that it was highly investigated by the CIA. It's remote viewing is not quite a clairvoyant. It's a little bit different. Is that right, or is that kind of how I read it? It's a little bit different, but
So remote viewing is a little bit different from what you would consider clairvoyant. It's I think it's categorized more as like a subtype of clairvoyance. So
So same, but different.
well, clairvoyance is more about seeing if the actual future, perceiving the future in some way, beyond the normal, in the extrasensory frequencies, essentially. And while remote viewing is more referred to as traveling clairvoyance, because remote viewing which is a term that came up like it relatively recently, like the 70s, is when you kind of project your perception to a certain place, and you're able to kind of glean information from a specific target or location. So, it was originally known as like, it's also called like telesthesia, whatever.
That's a dope name.
It is a pretty awesome name.
Telesthesia.
And, you have, famous ones, like probably the most famous, probably Edgar Cayce, one of the most famous ones in the paranormal circles. But like the real remote viewing was not a kind of a thing, like a specific, type of psychic ability that kind of hit the mainstream until you had the interest in spiritualism like explode in the mid 19th century. So when that happened, you had the Fox sisters, right, in 1848, where they came out and they were communicating with the dead. Right, I don't know if we talked about them before, or I just remember reading about them.
I think we've definitely talked about the Fox sisters before.
They would communicate, or they claimed to be able to communicate with spirits and of dead people by.
Are they the one with the ghost band?
No, that's a different one. The Fox sisters, like they communicated with they had like a series of knocks. Like they would get spirits to like make a code of knocks, and they were able to kind of communicate with them through this
Morse code
method.
Or something?
And so as soon as that happened, as soon as the rise in popularity brought this to the attention of, relatively well-known scientists, because science at that time, science was advancing just as quick as, these investigations and these kind of the rising interest into the paranormal, spiritualism, things like this. So we were just starting to learn about these concepts of, magnetism, electricity, all this kind of cool stuff that we had never really kind of conceived before, radio waves, all this neat stuff. We were figuring like, how can this apply to spiritualism? So once you get the two together, you had some really like high profile scientists investigate and put time, like actual time and effort into
scientists,
finding out how this stuff works.
Some scientists, some people involved.
Well, I'm saying scientists. you had Michael Faraday, and if you've heard about the Faraday cage, he invented that. He discovered benzene. Father of modern science, kind of dude. And you had William Crookes.
Little did you know, I built this whole studio in a Faraday cage just in case to stop them from spying on us during the podcast. So everything's hardwired out of here.
Makes sense. I mean, we thought ahead. You thought ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. You had William Crookes, who discovered thallium and invented the radiometer, also taking part in these investigations into how people were seem to be communicating with the dead, or
all these things,
moving things with their minds, and all kinds of cool stuff that was coming out of
all these things you're talking about that were invented could totally be made up, and I'd have no fucking clue.
It's funny. I was just thinking in my head, I was like, what the hell is a radiometer?
And Theradine.
Like a radiometer is it's a tiny little mechanism that measures electromagnetic waves. So it's kind of from what I looked it up.
Yeah, but what's an electromagnetic wave?
What's the wave, brother?
All these things are something I feel like they're trying to sell you on late night TV. Those infomercials.
I mean, it's an actual thing. Like you can look that up. It looks like a little. It looks funny, but it's like a little light bulb with like these thin little like panels on the thing.
Dan, there's one question.
Whatever you say, Billy Mays.
There's one question though, Dan, we got to ask about it, and how easily is it calibrated?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty easy, because like you can put it, because what it's supposed to do is like to actually like detect like electromagnetic stuff on the electromagnetic spectrum, electromagnetic waves. So you have like light being on that wavelength. So the little dealies will rotate when there's light hitting it. So technically you could just put it in you could put your like something between it and a light source, and that kind of just zeros it out.
Yeah,
so then
same thing like turning on an EMF.
Yeah,
same thing.
I'd say about the same.
Some things inside twirl.
Some swing. They twirl. You block it out. You
Zeros.
You reset it. You lift it off.
Flashing lights.
I mean, it's not even. There's not even like electronic mechanisms inside of it. It's just like a little wire with
the only way an EMF can be fooled is if you turn it on and there's a ghost being censored, because then it zeroes out the ghosts, right? So then it's like, then you didn't calibrate it properly. So you got to make sure there's no ghosts when you turn it on. That's it.
So how do you make sure there are no ghosts?
You've got your thermometer. Make sure there's no cold spots in the area, right?
Make sure everyone feels normal. Take everyone's
Smudge. Do a smudge.
Couple smudges.
Right? Crucifix. Couple holy Hail Marys. Holy Marys. What are they called?
Hail Marys.
Hail Marys. Toss a couple of those. Fuck. No ghost. Turn it on. Calibrated.
So, but pretty much, Dan, you're saying it, like the psychic phenomenon was taken pretty serious at the start. Like there was legit people who thought, like if we could all be Professor X.
Right. Well, it's more like they were investigating into this because there were scientists that kind of crossed over. Like there were scientists that definitely believed in the paranormal. Like they believed that we were able to communicate with the dead. Like they were on board 100%. And so other scientists, like when this happened, like all of the kind of thing, I read one kind of interesting paper about it, talking about how early serious investigations into what we refer as psychic phenomenon were plagued with a number of problems that critics were quick to point out. So this kind of created like a hurdle. If you wanted to be taken seriously, like looking into this stuff was definitely frowned upon at some point. I mean, you had things like critics were quick to point out stuff like, inherent bias. Like, again, if you're a serious scientist and then you come out saying like, I've discovered this, I also believe in this, it's like that kind of creates a little bit of bias. And then that puts all of your results into jeopardy right there. Poor experimental design, again, different variables. What were the controls? Like, could this person have been doing this? Like, inability to replicate a lot of these results, because that's one of the things they talked about is like, there seems to be a problem with like, the more you would test people on these, people who had these claim to have these abilities, like the less they'd be able to do something.
Well, you know what though? The thing for me is I'm like, maybe it's some sort of fatigue, you know what I mean? Like if you have these kind of abilities, like maybe it's like any kind of muscle, right? Like if you just walk into the gym and kill yourself, you're going to have a hard time doing that same kind of performance the next time you go in. So if you're just going in and you nail something the first time and then they're like, do it again, you're like, you get worse and worse and worse. Then you're like, you're off, right? It's because like maybe it's something that we inherently have, but it's not trained or not developed properly, right? So like whatever,
use it or you lose it.
Exactly. Maybe that kind of one of those things. And one of the most interesting things that when I was looking into this is that one of the people had said that that it was perhaps Russia that got the States and the CIA down this path, because during the Cold War, it was coming out of Russia that, they were looking into this kind of stuff heavily and were having success with it, which then caused the States to be like, God damn it.
Well, and
Russian.
Anything the Ruskies are doing.
Yeah. We got to do it 10 times more than they're doing it. Throw all the black book money at it. Start rounding up the people from Operation Climax.
So yeah, the CIA with their big budget, during the Cold War, 1970s, is definitely a time that we were trying to look for the informational edge on the Soviet Union. Like our relations with the Soviet Union, which even before that time were pretty precarious. Like we were declining in our kind of talking. There had been, I think Nixon at that time had like kind of put the pressure on them with like signing like deals with China and like all this kind of stuff is going on. But so yeah, like there came these reports coming out, or at least one or two reports where CIA agents heard a rumor that the Soviets were developing some type of information gathering ability by using psychics.
Wait. Hold on a second. We got to address something here. Andrew just texted the group being like, my fucking headphone is stuck right here. Let's see.
Like it's right in there.
It's in your ear.
It's all the way in there.
Let's see.
Like it's fucking all the way. Hold on, maybe this will work. No, it didn't work. It's fucking in there, boys.
You need tweezers.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I need something.
You're gonna miss the pod trip because you're gonna be in the ER getting your.
I'm fucking panicking right now. Look, it's gone.
How?
I don't know.
I saw you like have a weird look in your face and then feel a couple times, and I read that message and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I might not be back after the break.
got to go to
Might be in
emergency.
there. You're going to have to get
the
Jess
earbud
with
removed.
some tweezers there.
Oh, she's not gonna be able to do it. She's gonna be panicking.
This is hilarious.
You might be able to do it yourself. I don't know. Needle nose
Yeah, I'm
pliers.
gonna have to try.
That's hilarious.
Well, just
Sorry.
don't push it in any farther.
It's in there.
Didn't see
I
that
was-
one coming.
No,
No,
I wasn't remote viewing that. That's for sure.
no.
So the CIA threw a bunch of money at it, and they started the project known as SCANate, which is kind of short or like a portmanteau of the Scan by Coordinate. And then they started in the 1970s, and so in 1972, the agency started funding paranormal research in this program, and they would go on for at least like 20 years, like almost like I think 20 years, like a decade, 20 years of their projects.
Sorry. Oh, I'm gonna hold on. I'm seeing the stars. I'm seeing the stars.
What happened?
Oh my god. He snuck his phone up to his ear while Dad was talking to try to get a shot.
You can't even see it.
You can't see
You
it?
can't even see it. No.
Did you send it?
No,
It's
no,
gone,
he was
boys.
taking it to him for himself so he could see. Dude, that's so funny. I understand the CIA's interest in this kind of thing though, because imagine the capabilities that if you could train, CIA agents or whatnot, or even civilians to project their consciousness into, behind enemy lines, into offices, right? And that kind of stuff, and have information without having to ever step foot or cross any lines. Like that would be a huge, an unbelievable advantage in war.
Oh yeah, if you could just lock a guy in a dark room, be like, all right, this is the guy's name, this is his last known location, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, he's in this cave, boom, missile strike, whatever.
That's why all the bad guys want to use Cerebro, right? The wrong hands? Fucking dangerous, boys.
You can't shoot the spy satellite out of the sky because it's like locked away in it's the other side of the world, just some dude in his basement. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, like there's no defense against it. I guess unless you get people that like psychic defense, right? They're like
counter.
right?
You got to wear a cool helmet
Plus,
like
it's
Magneto.
extraordinarily
Blocking.
cheap. Like it's miles cheaper, like advanced radar systems. You wouldn't need any of that. So budget wise, it's like, why not for them?
Yeah,
It's kind of like if we throw a couple $100,000 at this and a couple
Yeah,
million
Dave will
dollars,
do it for
we'll be fine.
$15 an hour.
The CIA put this project under what people have probably heard about as Project Stargate. This is what they label it. It was pretty fucking rad. Kurt Russell was there, and James Spader. And so now you had them headquarter this entire project out of the Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California.
Did you call him Jim Spader because you're just personal
We're
level with him?
Yeah. And what has kind of become the standard, because when I was researching for this, like I watched a couple of videos and whatever. There was one from like Vice and stuff like this, where they were talking about what is remote viewing, all that kind of stuff. They all did the same type of kind of experiment, which is the one that they actually performed and kind of pioneered here at the Stanford Research Institute, called what they called it as the Outbounder Beacon experiment. So
Outbounder begin?
Beacon.
Oh.
Right. So what would occur is that you would have two researchers who would depart the research institute, and they would have in their possession sealed envelopes that had been locked inside a safe for a whole day or so. Nobody had seen them. Nobody had a chance to see them except the experimenter, the observers. And so once they would get outside of the building and they would get into their cars, they're instructed to open up the envelopes. Inside would be contained a picture, a photograph of like a scene or an area. And there would be an address of that location at the bottom. And then the participants were to drive to that location, and then they would look around and try to mentally record their surroundings.
Which is
Then they
interesting because I kind of think of that like if you're mentally recording your surroundings, we've talked about the Akashic records and stuff like that, where it's like as soon as it's observed, and maybe especially if someone's taking mental note of it, of like, I'm looking at the scene with intent, not just every day, you're like you're making it accessible to someone with psychic abilities. Like to me, I'm like, if you believe in the Akashic records and that like all knowledge is, accessible to
part of the field, like an all-encompassing field.
What we talked about on the sudden savant syndrome, right? Like stuff like that, where people, all of a sudden they, get a little bonk in the head, and all of a sudden they play piano or do math like crazy, or see patterns, and like weird stuff happens. So it's like maybe this is something where if someone's going, they're physically at the place, they're looking around, they're seeing it with intent, they're focusing their mind. Just like it says, they're the beacon for a psychic now to see this area.
They're uploading to the conscious cloud. Yes,
exactly, right? And then someone else who's, a clairvoyant or someone who thinks that they're, or they suspect might have these kind of powers, are in a room with another scientist, and they're trying to, pick up these messages.
Yeah, so that's the second part of the experiment. Thank you for describing the whole thing for me. So yes, they had a subject who was judged to have be exceptionally perceptive, or
like right now we got Zell and Andrew. Right now,
right?
They're excelling. Dan,
I feel like my signals are gonna be blocked now, though.
Yeah.
Half.
You're gonna get you're half. You're at 50% capacity.
Yeah.
And then that person would try to concentrate on that person, the other person, like get on their wavelength to try and receive the information that that person was perceiving at the time. Since the concept was essentially like you could have someone go out there, look around their locations, and you would have one person in there just kind of verifying, like being able to record what's there at that time. So you see a lot of people doing this kind of things. And so normally what you would get from most of the experiments I saw and the stuff that was documented, most of the times you get like you don't get like a clear picture of what they're seeing. A lot of these clairvoyants, like it's more like an impression. The remote viewers get more like a kind of like you get like an impression of buildings or like shapes or running water. I think was some of them, like bodies of water where it could be seen a little bit clearly. But they would kind of draw pictures or like stuff that whatever they were perceiving in their mind. And some of them they judged to be accurate enough to continue the project. Like this is just in the beginning. So for like another 8-9 years with the CIA. So now after the CIA kind of got into it first and pushed the limits, you had other the United States government services kind of getting in the mix as well. So then after the CIA shut down Project Stargate, we now
know they never shut this shit down. They just rename it, retool it until it's found out again.
Blend it in somewhere else and boom.
Yeah.
You had the next one that's documented or that we have evidence of is the Project Grill Flame.
Great name.
Not as cool as Stargate, but
still great.
Dude,
great,
Guy Fieri would disagree with you.
I guess the CIA is better at naming stuff than the U.S. Army because that's who took over for the after they wrapped up their research. Like I think the research still remained at Stanford Research Institute for about 2 or 3 years, and then they moved the majority of the operations and research over to Fort Meade, and then they started their whole thing there.
We could call our whole Texas trip Operation Grill Flame because everything I'm eating is flame grilled, flame broiled, right? Meat sweats,
all day.
That's gonna need a fucking triple bypass.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
We got medical insurance, just in case.
So once they started theirs in 1978, quickly they had their kind of superstar. There was Joseph McMoneagle, and Joseph McMoneagle, if you look him up, he's got a bunch of interviews talking about his time in Project Grill Flame, and he's talked about him being part of a team of remote viewers, like being at least, he said there was around 15 of them who operated under strict guidelines that had been developed at Stanford Research Institute for remote viewing.
That's interesting that he says he's part of a team because like maybe if they were working together in some sort of, my brain kind of goes to Minority Report of like seeing 15 people like laying in this fluid, just shaking around like,
It definitely, I mean, yeah, that sounds really cool. But he pretty much described his typical workday as showing up into an old leaky wooden barracks at Fort Meade. And then he would sit down with a cup of coffee, and then somebody would bring in just like envelopes of photos or addresses or whatever. Like that's all he would do. And he had like a typewriter to kind of type out his report. And that was his typical workday, going in there and doing that.
What a gravy gig he
must
have honestly had some success at
right. So
stuff
he
for them to be
says
like,
that
give him another. God damn it, Jim. He's been right 10 times.
He claimed that that they were
50% of the righty, 50% of the time he's right every time, Jim. God damn it.
Of the $20 million budget that he said was earmarked for this project, he said that they saved the government an estimated $240 million by helping find lost Scud missiles during the Persian Gulf War. That's just one of the examples.
That's a 10-time return on investment right there.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He said he predicted almost precisely where Skylab was going to fall 11 months before the spacecraft returned to Earth in 1979.
This is looking pretty good for the remote viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but one of the more stranger, or the probably farthest out there, both figuratively and literally, kind of tasks that was assigned to him is that he said that on May 2nd, 1984, he was at the Virginia-based Monroe Institute, which was a nonprofit to study the study of altered consciousness. He said that in this institute, he was taking a nap in their black box, which is a 1 foot thick, totally shielded containment room that they would use for remote viewing experiments. And he said that the director showed up, Robert Monroe, and then he had an unnamed, or either he doesn't want to reveal the name or he didn't. I don't think he actually knew who it was, but they handed him a sealed envelope, and they pretty much on the envelope, they said, open the envelope and look in it. And it just said, the planet Mars, time of interest, approximately 1 million years BC.
What?
On it. Yeah. I mean, you can look this up. There's these documents are actually out there. Like it's on the Black Vault. It's on that. It's on a couple other websites. Like it's an actual document of the actual remote viewing.
The Black Vault, like the way you describe that, it's super interesting because like, how when we have these experiments, they'll take something from it, right? That they've learned. And like now for like post-concussion syndrome and stuff like that, like that's how they treat you. They call it like brain breaks, and you will sit in complete like sensory deprivation, black room, and they'll make you, like I've done it. You'll sit there for an hour and there's nothing.
Dude, I like
just pure blackness.
It'd be interesting because like to do a long session in a sensory deprivation chamber, and if you had like this kind of training, or you were trying to do this, that might be a good avenue to is go in one of these pods and do that there where you have nothing. You kind of disconnect, get a complete body disconnect.
Unless you have ADD. In my case, I was going fucking crazy.
So while he was doing this, the observer, the unnamed, could have been possibly government. It's not named, and he's not sure. Gave him would give him sets of coordinates, like latitude and longitude. The first set he gives him, I believe, is 40.89 degrees north, 9.55 degrees west. And so going into his remote viewing trance, going through the exercises and going into and looking, getting his impressions back, you can actually go and look up the entire transcript of what allegedly happened. But so at this set of coordinates, and just like to summarize it, he said that he saw some type of pyramid or pyramid form quite high in a large depressed area. Like, so you can imagine something like a crater or a large
pyramids
like a large
on Mars
or something. And from there, they asked him, go back 1 million years, right? And he's saying that once he goes back that million years, he said he was getting a perception of a shadow of people, not shadow people, but he says that like it's like they were there but not there anymore. Like they had been there.
It's like he's seeing
that's
like
what
a
he was getting.
remaining silhouette or something of them, not the actual.
Right. Like an impression that these people had been there, but they weren't there anymore. So then they gave him another set of coordinates, 46.445 north and 353.22 east. I know people are going to probably be looking at these. And he said inside this, on this coordinates, he was getting a feeling of these deep carved caverns. He said that they were carved didn't look like they'd been carved by wind, but been carved by some, by an
like
intelligent
civilization.
force.
Yeah.
And these had rooms inside, like large, airy rooms that perhaps, I think they talked about like some of these entities that were actually existed there at the time. Like he went back another time when they were there, what he was asked of by the observer to ask, like, when go back to the time when they are there, and he said that they were hiding. They had seemed to be like hiding from a storm or something, or weathering something out. And then moving on, they gave him another set of coordinates, 45.86 north by 354.1 east. He said he saw an impression of an obelisk. Right, because he relates it to the something like the Washington Monument,
something like what was popping all around Earth,
and so it goes on.
It almost sounds like he's describing, it's like the shadow of the person, like the deep caves, like almost like they were bunkered down, like some type of like either
underground base,
or bunker for like a nuclear explosion or comet impact. High velocity impact or something.
I also kind of got interested because I was trying to figure out why were the coordinates random, because I couldn't find that anywhere, and I was wondering why those specific coordinates were
they
given.
gave them those for a reason, for sure.
Right?
And like they gave him a time frame too, like go back a million years.
They only gave him like back. They gave him a general idea, like they gave him back a million years, and then they said like go back to the time when those people were there, or those what you're getting, like those entities when they were actually there.
That also, like, I was like kind of thinking about that when I was doing this, and I'm like, man, imagine if these are like some higher form of beings, and we've sent someone to be like, yeah, they can now see where we're from, like where we're from, that we can do this. Because maybe he's off. Maybe if this, you know what I mean? Like maybe he's not as well trained. He thinks he's going back a million years, but if time's just a construct, right? Like maybe he's connecting to things that we have no idea. It's kind of like the Dark Force scenario again, where it's like, maybe we shouldn't be trying to project ourselves to these areas or do these things. Stay calm. Right?
Yeah.
You're like Frodo, right? Just don't put the ring on. You're wearing the...
So according to the transcript, I think he got the idea that he is these entities that were kind of bunkered down, for lack of a better word, inside these caves. He was saying that he felt that they were, or he got the idea that they are waiting there for something. He got the impression that they were waiting there for something, or waiting for something, like they had sent somebody, or they're waiting for somebody to come get them, or they were waiting for something, an announcement or something is why they were there. And he was getting the idea like they were waiting, but they also, while they were waiting for this announcement, they were also not expecting it to come. That they were kind of resigned to whatever their fate was going to be, even though they were still waiting for something.
It's like
that kind of fills in with Zell said, like they're in bomb shelters and they're waiting for, possibly like nuclear fallout or something like that. Like that's cool.
Well, that's like one of the theories of like, because they know Mars used to have atmosphere, but it was stripped either by just solar winds or some impact or something threw off Mars that it lost its atmosphere. So imagine there was a civilization on Mars.
And then they ran into a Martian Putin and decided to go nuclear.
Well, hopefully that's not an accurate comparison, but
that's why we're going to Texas.
That's why we're going to Texas. Get more guns there. But no, so imagine there was like a Martian population. Something happened, and so they flee underground and they're trying to come back up, but their atmosphere is slowly being diminished. And like they just can't go back to life as it was, and they just know like their time's ticking. They're stuck in a hole.
it's interesting because then I wonder if that because that would be such a time of like unbelievable, almost global wide turmoil for whatever civilization was left. If that that kind of heightened emotion or something makes that point in time a beacon for people who can remote view and stuff, because of there's all this kind of like similar energy at the same point in time. Creates kind of like a beacon, maybe. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Are you talking like a Akashic record, like that massive event as like etched into the...
Yeah, because it's imagine it's like sorrow or despair, right? It's like because of everyone was feeling the same unique despair. It's like there's like a beacon, right? At that point in time of like something's going on here. We can just feel it because there was just this mass energy of despair put out into the universe.
Well, and you hear that, people get those feelings when they go to, Auschwitz and shit like that.
Yeah,
or I remember when I went to Alcatraz, I felt something. I couldn't describe it, but it's definitely something I've never felt before.
I think we've all been to places that you've had that, experienced that feeling. And
it's
usually
almost
it
as
is.
bad as having a headphone stuck in your ear. That's,
Trust me, I think everyone's skin's crawling.
When's this happening?
I will also say that it sounds suspiciously a lot like the descriptions of Mars from Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter novels. He describes Mars as like a dying at that time, like it was in those things. So it reminds you that I like the John Carter movie.
I will say yes, I agree with you. But John Carter movie is also based on the fact that scientists think that Mars was a planet that was potentially habitable, and something happened and it died. Right, like they said, so it's yes, it is from a novel, but also that novel is based on. It's like he didn't come up with that, and scientists go, "Hey, shit, like that's a pretty good idea."
I mean, they wrote that novel in 1917. They didn't know the stuff we know today.
Yeah, but I guess it's ahead of its time then. Maybe he was a remote viewer.
Maybe he was remote viewing.
There you go.
Right?
He was the first.
Right? Maybe
Jules Verne was a remote viewer too, right? He knew about submarines and stuff like that way ahead of their time.
Well, we talk about that, like of people who are like creative in that, like maybe they're in touch with something and
dude, if H.P. Lovecraft is a remote viewer and all that shit's real,
we're in trouble.
we're
terrifying.
Yeah, but maybe it's not. Maybe not on our realm of dimension. Maybe he's tapping in somewhere else, right?
But it's all
not
connected,
necessarily.
right?
Not necessarily Earth.
So once they punch
I need a
through,
fucking beer. I need beer more than anything I've ever needed in my life.
Before we get a break, let's do
We'll do one more card.
We'll
then
do one more card. Who wants to go first?
Okay, let's go back to Earplug Man.
Earplug Man. All right. Let me just get it set up. All right. I got my card here. I'm sending it to you right now.
Two diamonds.
Oh! 2 hearts.
So close, yet so far away.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that you are 2 for 2 on the number and 0 for 2 on the suit though. But hey,
that's good. That's a win in my books.
Zeller Dan, who wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay, we're going
right.
snake order backwards here.
It is Francisco Goya's Saturn devouring his son.
Oh, it's Buster Blader.
Buster Blader.
All right.
That's a fucking awesome Yu-Gi-Oh card.
That's okay. Hey, not everyone's a psychic.
Yep.
All right, Zell.
Robots can't be psychics, man.
Sending.
Cyborgs can't be psychics.
No?
Zell.
Doesn't sound like it. All right, 1 second. I gotta make my mind an empty rice bowl. Keep my imagination quiet. Black card. 9.
2 for 2. Unbelievable. I'm gonna make you call the suit next time because you're 2 for 2 on colors. And I'm gonna say this: I'm unbelievably impressed that you picked the number, but saying black or red is 50-50. So I'm like, I was like, yeah, but at the same time, you did call the card.
I'm going by the steps. It says if you see a color, you say it. Okay, I'll look for more.
Next time I'll press you on the suit.
Okay, I'll take a little more time to clear my mind on the next one. Okay, right. We're gonna grab a quick beer. Andrew's gonna pick out an earplug out of his ear canal, and we will be right back.
The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place. That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
All right, we're back. Andrew has removed his headphone from his ear canal.
Feeling good.
We almost lost him from the podcast forever.
Permanently. Fucking permanently.
Okay, we're going to come back. Bray wants to do one more card experiment.
One more card experiment. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first this time because we're doing like a snake draft here.
Okay. Hold on. Got your card? Zell, clear your mind. I am picturing your card right now, and I am sending it to your brain now.
Jack of Hearts.
Now.
Oh, fuck. I can't get the suit.
This is unbelievable.
Man, you know what? It's because we've been friends for so long, our brains are connected.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what it is. The Jack of Hearts.
You're a great transmitter.
Maybe I'm a really good, maybe this has nothing to do with you. You know what? This has nothing to do with you guys. I'm an unbelievable beacon. That's what it is, obviously.
This is really good at sending messages.
Who wants to go?
Now to go back to Dan.
Back to Dan? Okay. Dan, I need you to focus this time, okay? I need
Take this seriously, Dan. Come on.
Just listen to my voice. I need you to believe. Let down your guard.
Tina Turner in Thunderdome. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
It's a 4.
4 spades.
Yeah. I like the thought though. It was good. That's good.
It's what came to his mind. Maybe you were thinking that by mistake.
I'll tell you something though. He started to say it. I lost the image of the card in my mind and went to Tina Turner.
So Dan re-incepted you.
Dan 0 for 3. Zell, I'm going to give Zell and Andrew both a 2 for 2 on guesses.
No, I'm 3 for 3.
Yeah, 3 for 3.
Not the suit though.
Not the suit. Andrew, I've set yours up right now.
This one's easy. Gonna go with comes to mind. First thing that comes to mind was my queen that removed the plug from my ear. I'm gonna say Queen of Spades. Oh, fuck.
You got a spade.
You got the spade.
Hey, one part right.
Hey, that's all right. We can't get them all. Spade's good though, but that's a 1 in 4 chance.
It's not.
So Zell right now is the best psychic we have.
I have the most powerful brain.
He is the most powerful brain. I'm obviously the most powerful beacon. What else do we have to talk about remote viewing?
Well, Zell is the closest to Dr. Xavier, right? He's got the hairline going. He's got the chicken legs.
Give me
we just got to get you a fucking chair.
3-4 more years. I'm full. I'm full Professor X.
If you saw Zell in a chair, you would think this motherfucker's never walked.
Never.
He's never walked a day in his goddamn life.
That's what I look like right now. A little chubby. Okay, what did we miss?
Circling back, we talked about Joseph McMonagle, right, being one of the superstars, but one of the other ones was a 55-year-old from Salt Lake City, Utah, named Pat Price. So Pat Price allegedly awakened his psychic gift after subscribing to the teachings of Scientology at the age of 50. And at 55, he was introduced to Project Stargate, Project Stargate. And apparently he was able to kind of garner the full support and the full 100% focus of the project by being able to accurately describe details about a naval radio station secret facility that had been run by the NSA at Sugar Grove at the time. Like details that he included in his description included things like numbers of floors in the buildings, names on folders that were within a specific office. And he was even described like the color of the cabinet in that office where those files were contained. Oh. And so after he nailed all this stuff, like in one session,
well, you're interested either way. If someone does that, either way, even if he's a bullshitter, you're going, okay, there's two things happening here. This guy is doing this and we need to figure out how, or we have a leak who's telling this guy and we need to figure out who. So like either way, this guy pulls off this feat and you're in a room and he tells you, you're like, okay, well, my interest is piqued. Now we have to look more into this because you would want to know right away, is this legit or is someone leaking information they shouldn't be? Right? Like, That's the interesting thing about this, I think.
And so bringing him like fully in, like they gave him other tasks, and probably they said one of his best known sessions was when he described a Soviet arms factory and Semipalatinsk.
Yeah, it's a
so hard to say. I can't say it.
with and honestly, with the current events going on, we're not even going to try.
Semipalatinsk. It was in 1974, but he sketched out and described true to scale a huge 8-wheel gantry that was unique to that location that had and also contained or had been carrying this camouflage steel ball that I think there were rumors that this is some type of like particle weapon, like particle beam weapon or something. The
ball was
about
like
20 meters in diameter that was under construction in that facility. Which is they could never get their hands on they were able to confirm that gantry actually existing and being there in the position that he gave them, but they were never able to confirm the steel ball. Like they weren't sure what that was. But
now, did he describe it as a particle weapon, or is it like?
It's. I think it's just like rumors. Like that was more of like a rumor of what it was.
The only thing I read, it was him being a steel ball, and everything else was basically conspiracy of like our people theorizing that might have been what it was, or what it could have been used for. But if you think about this, like you have this guy who said this about your base, and so you're thinking either there's two things going on here. This guy's full of shit, and we have a mole, or he's good. And you're like, okay, well, sit him down in the room because we obviously were interested in what this guy has to say, because even if you think you're bullshitting, you want to find out, and you're like, okay, well, tell us something else, right? Verify this. Because if you know you got him wrong, then you can be like, okay, we crossed that, check that box at least. Now we can figure out who's giving him information. And then he feeds you this, and you're like, come on. So now it starts to me like when you start to look at this claim, and then it comes out true, it starts to make the other side of like someone's feeding this guy information, it starts to get a little far-fetched that someone would be doing that, because this is Soviet Russia. It's not like it's like, at this point in time, like, hey, like, yes, random American Pat Price, let me feed you with cool information so you can make CIA very happy, right? Like that's not happening. It seems very ludicrous. So then it starts to think like,
unless he's a double agent.
Maybe, but then I start to think like maybe this guy just had some heightened abilities or some heightened senses.
So that he just needed L. Ron Hubbard to fucking unlock it.
Yeah, he was clear of the Thetans.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get the impression that they were just using these like the psychic viewers, the remote viewers, like by themselves and going off of that information, that would technically be inaccurate because from Joseph McMonagle talking about his experience with the program, he tries to be clear that the Army and the CIA and the intelligence services were not using the remote viewers like solely. They were not their sole source of information. They were using them more to kind of confirm like observations and reports that they would get from satellite imaging, that they would get from reports and photos from agents in the field. That's more what they were using them for, as opposed to like the idea that they're just like, they would scan these, like they would just go off of what they're saying and then be like, yeah, that's exactly where it is or whatever. So, Joseph McMonagle feels like, I was reading an interview with him. I think he did with the Washington Post or Slate, actually. And he was talking about how everybody kind of gets that impression that it was just this off the rails kind of project that they were just throwing out there, throwing money at, and then they would, do something based on that, wasting a whole bunch of money. But he's like, no, like we were just doing our jobs to try and confirm information or give another, corroboration of the accuracy of the reports.
Second look. In. Yeah. Huh. Or what going from the other angle. So they do all this study into remote viewing. If you go, the consensus is they're like, well, they fold the program. They didn't find anything. I think maybe they found more than they thought. So if you say you put all this money in, you're like, oh shit, we do have this technology where you can spy on people just using people, just using the human mind. Then you plant a couple disinformation agents. They claim to be remote viewers. It ends up they're like, oh, actually, we hoaxed that back then. It just sours the image of remote viewing. But meanwhile, end of the program, all that, everything we gained, we sweep it over here, change the name, bury it. Only a handful of people know the actual results. So,
well,
and they weren't even like remote viewing wasn't the only technique that they were interested in or they were testing at the Research Institute and the U.S. Army. Like they were also invested in other, like they were running other projects in parallel, experimenting with other kind of types of psychic abilities as well. So it's not like, I think Uri Geller was brought in at one point, if anybody knows him, famous spoonbender psychic.
Well, yeah, he claimed to be able to bend spoons, but under controlled conditions, he did not reproduce his experiment. So is that one of the things?
Well, no, that's because the CIA had already recruited him, and he has to say that because he was saving us from He was saving us from Psycho Mantis. Like so.
See, the thing
was that before or after he joined the Mystery Men?
It's probably when was Mystery Men? 90s, probably before.
96, probably.
Yeah.
Probably before.
The interesting with the remote viewing is though it's like even if you have someone. Like, say Zell here is a phenomenal remote viewer. He's
to be pretty good.
He is right 85% of the time, right? Let's just say the number. You're saying he's not perfect every time, but he's right to an astounding degree. You still need to verify what he's saying. So it's like, so say if he's like, I'm in a secret base and they have this and that, it's like, well, okay, write that down. But we're not sure. We have to now get in there. We have to get that information to verify. And like maybe some of that's hard, like, it's, going to Mars, in a couple of years, we might be able to verify some of these claims of, what's his McMahon Eagle, right?
McGonagall.
I had to look it up. I had to look up how to say his name.
Much like Skull Lion, I think he likes to go by McMahon Eagle.
Or McMahon Eagle?
No, just McMahon Eagle.
Okay.
But like we will be able to verify some of those claims. Like if people are Mars, rovers are Mars, and we go over those coordinates, and you're like, God damn, this guy hit it out of the park. Like there is, these things there that he's claimed, or relics or evidence of these things from a past civilization are there. So it's a tough one for me because I'm like, you have to verify the results, which gets me excited about our Austin experiment because we're going to project our consciousness to Austin, a place none of us have ever been. I've made it a conscious effort outside of looking at the pictures of the B&B we're staying. I haven't looked up pictures of anything. Not a thing. So we are going to be able to project our consciousness there and then see if when we're there, if we remote viewed and maybe some of us excel more than others.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Austin's a big city, so we're going to have to consciously, I'm going to try and throw my mind somewhere, within 10 miles of downtown.
And well, here's what I was thinking about doing, because, if you can look up steps on how to remote view, and there's classes you can pay for with on like Gaia.com, and Stephen Greer, if you give him $59.99 bi-weekly, he'll teach you the tricks. But what I was thinking that I'm personally going to try to do in this is, rather than just pick Austin and just try to like see there, I'm going into this under the guise of time is a construct that doesn't exist. So I want to see through my own eyes in, say, 5 days. So I know I'm going to be in Austin, Texas, right? I know I'm going to be there. So I'm projecting my consciousness from the future to see what I'm seeing. Like that's how I am going to try to take this.
You're trying to project your consciousness into the future, into you, who's going to be there.
My own consciousness.
And because time is fluid, you're going to be able to send your conscious thought backwards in time from yourself to your current self in order to see what your future self is seeing.
Exactly. Like, it's all connected, right? It's all connected.
I hear you.
So that was what I was going to try to do. And then, much like we were talking, I haven't tried any personally. I haven't been working on this because I thought about this early, that maybe it is a muscle or something that, if exercise. So I didn't want to, I've never done any kind of practice with trying to project my consciousness and stuff. So I wanted to be fresh. This is the first time I'm ever going to try this outside of when I'm at work every day and I project myself anywhere but work. Right. So how do we want to do this?
Okay, well, there's some instructions that we should probably try and follow. So either take notes, but we're recording this visually, so our notes will be verbal. So that's the same thing.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
So pretty much we're going to project, clear your mind, calm your consciousness,
Let me get
relax,
the zone here.
deep breathing, enjoy the emptiness for a few moments. Keep the window in your mind black. Sometimes it helps to put something over their eyes, they say. So maybe if you got a hat or I don't got anything. What do we got? Does mask cover both my eyeballs? No. Shades? One time I don't got a fucking hat in here.
There.
Okay, I'm just gonna dim my lights.
That's uncomfortable.
I'm just gonna dim my lights real low. For the rest of the podcast, my lights are going out, actually.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Yeah, do the same thing here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I can do? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Gotta get real dim.
The dark's getting dim.
Dark is very, very dim. All right. Do we want to do it one at a time?
Oh no.
Oh, Braden is consciously turned his
party.
Whew. Okay. Let's go one at a time. Braden, let's start with you.
Okay.
So if any colors, shapes, textures come out, make sure to speak them, write them down, whatever you're doing, just as you see them. You can open your eyes when you have a picture, and then you can close your eyes after.
I'm just trying to get myself. I'm trying to like imagine myself right now, trying to like touch into that creativity, I'm trying to imagine myself in Austin and what I'm doing and where I'm at. And I'm trying to just kind of like align myself with okay, I'm seeing myself. I'm on a sidewalk. There's like a glass overhang. I'm seeing a glass overhang. Cars, kind of a busier street. I see a cafe. I see a cafe across the street. Like tiny metal chairs up front, 2 sets.
Colors, textures, shapes.
It's like there's like a hotel door or something. It's dark tinted windows. I'm trying to see in. I can kind of see the lights of a concierge or like a desk or something on the right side. I see the gold long bars on the doors, or like brass. I see a lot of red on the floor. Maybe a rug. A rug's coming to me. Some old wooden. It's weird because as soon as I start to try to like detail what I'm picturing in my head, it almost fleets away as fast. I put myself back there. I kind of like, I'm out of it now. Honestly, I can't see myself there anymore.
You had some descriptions. They're recorded.
So I think what I was seeing was like, I'm seeing like a hotel walkway. I was just seeing like myself on an extended sidewalk with a glass overhang. Obviously like a rain cover or something. And then when I turned to the right, I could see the doors. There was doors with like 2 long brass bars, and I could see through the window on a line of concierge. And I think I saw red carpet or red floor or red rug. When
you said red, I was like, "Yo, are you witnessing a murder scene?" Because I hope not.
No, I just could see the color like a red rug in there. I don't know if that's if it's the floor or a rug in there that I can see through the window. And then I was really trying to focus on what else, and I kind of saw like a freestanding desk. But then it started fleeting as fast as I kind of touched into it. Across the street, I could see, there was traffic going by, but I could see like a cafe, it looked like, and it just had like wire chairs out front, like 2 sets. And that's all I can really remember. Black, sitting.
It's quite vague, I gotta say.
I know. Sorry, man.
That's okay. It's it's a skill we must learn.
I was trying.
Andrew? Clear your mind.
It's going to be tough because my mind's never clear.
Your mind is an empty rice bowl. Your brain is black. No images are projected. Send yourself down to Austin, Texas, and let me know what you see.
See a sidewalk.
Nice.
I see that the sun's shining.
Perfect.
It's bright, glary. See a shadow kind of coming towards us.
Fuck.
As it gets closer, kind of make it out. It's about as tall as it is wide.
Oh, fuck.
And as it gets closer, it's very, there's just a lot of glare. It gets a little closer, and it turns out it's a man, a muscular man, with tattoos. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey man, I love your shit. Do you want to do some jujitsu sometime?" It turns out it's Joe Rogan. And we become best friends.
Oh, shit.
It's in the cards, boys.
Hey,
I synced it.
Hey, if he willed it, it will be. If we run into Joe Rogan now and we tell him that we remote viewed and we had this exchange, I bet we will become best friends.
Well, then as soon as we tell him who he is, he says, "I love your shit." Then we're doing jujitsu, we're eating elk meat, maybe having a sauna together.
Yeah.
Like,
and all the ivermectin I want.
Oh, buddy, swimming in it.
Spreading stories that Steven Seagal was working with Putin on the Russian border.
Amazing.
I mean, Andrew's 2 for 3, so it might just be some large tattooed man saying, "I love your shit."
He's love your shit.
I love your shit, brother.
Meanwhile, he got the shadow all wrong. It's just Burmeister.
All right.
Dan, you want to give it a try? I know you're not going to come. Do you want to project yourself? See, I would say Dan's the biggest non-believer, but maybe he can touch in. You know, he's creative mind. Tap into that creativity, Dan.
Try and picture a scene.
Try to picture us there.
We're
there.
Us there. What are we doing?
I see you enveloped in a coruscating, burgeoning soulscape. 1,000 maws open and voice the primordial truth. It is the black goat of 1,000 young. Ea, Noob Shigaroth, boil seas of blood. For there's nothing for you but chaos within the streets of Austin.
Oh, fuck.
All right, I'm not going anymore.
And
Fuck that.
trip's canceled.
You just cursed our trip, dude.
What happened?
Dan blacked out.
And he cursed us.
Chaos in the street.
I was just rubbing my eyes real quick. I thought we were getting ready. Are we ready?
I think Dan just witnessed us in the bar fight is what I did.
I think we're all coming home with our own Mysonuck stories.
All right.
That was terrifying.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and clear my mind from that right
Channeling
away.
Beelzebub.
Are we doing it? I thought we were doing it. I rubbed my eyes for a second. I thought.
Well, Dan,
no?
You rubbed your eyes and summoned Satan.
Channeled demon.
Yeah, you're not going to look back fondly on that when you re-listen. That was scary.
hopefully
You got
that-
demons, my friend.
Something's in there, bud. Something's in there.
No Dan, only Zool.
Zell,
All right.
do you want me to bring you to it? Empty your mind, Zell. Just focus. You're picturing Austin, Texas, a place you've never been. When you're ready and you get a picture, tell us what you see.
I see a red building. It's not just red, it's kind of like a floral pattern, maybe a little paisley, the exterior. Is the interior. It seems like it's from a different country. It doesn't seem like the woodwork is ethnic. I would say kind of like resembles a Buddhist temple, perhaps, the way it's carved. I get the sense beside it, there's an open space. On the right side of the building, it is an open parking lot with a blue sign. I can't make out what that sign says. Whew, that's where I went.
Red building.
Paisley red
Paisley red.
with Buddhist woodwork on the interior.
On the interior, floral.
The exterior is like red
Well,
floral.
hey, I'm not going to fault you. If I was too vague, I'm going to say you were too specific. We'll see if we see anything like that.
I seen it right. I closed my eyes, popped right in my eyelids. That's exactly what I'm looking at there. Beside it, there was like a blue sign. I couldn't really tell what it said though. Like in the corner. Okay.
Well, we have a documented of what we're going to see. Chaos in the streets, a hotel, Joe Rogan, and some sort of Paisley
Indian
Buddhist
restaurant or something.
Indian restaurant. And we're going to be in Austin, so we're going to be on the lookout for these things. And if we're close, it's one of the things we wanted to do is if we can see some of the things we went to, that'll be interesting to see.
Excited for Austin. It's going to be fun.
I'm really friggin' excited. I can't wait. Someone said in the chat there that we should go cow tipping. That's not real. No one's ever gone cow tipping.
Can't fucking tip a cow, man.
It's make believe. It's a hoax. Anyone who's ever said that, liar. You can't sneak up on a cow at night. It's never happened. There's not one video. Go find a video online of someone tipping a cow.
Challenge.
Hoax, baby. That being said, you want to try in Austin? Put this to the test. Anyone got access to a farm where we won't get shot? That's probably why people don't do it down there, is because you will die.
Don't fuck around.
Anyone's a little bit shorter case file this week, I think. And then, it's
holiday for a week, but we got some bonus stuff lined up while we're gone.
Oh, yeah. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
The train just keeps on trucking.
But as far as remote viewing, it's a cool topic. It was heavily researched. They tell you it fell out of favor. It was hard to prove, but maybe they found out more than they let on. Maybe they're...
It's fascinating to me that they even looked into this kind of stuff and they found people that had some degree of success in it. Because like if you would have told me on face value, like this is something where I'd be like, meh. And then when you're like, oh, well, these people, had some success, and I'm sort of going, when you start looking into it, you're like, well, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of starts to pique my interest. And especially when you start pairing it with ideas like the Akashic Records and stuff like that, I start to think that maybe this concept is not all that strange at all. Like, to be honest, like if I'm comparing this remote viewing to sudden savant syndrome, and I didn't know about either, I would say, and they'd be like, one's real. I would go, well, remote viewing's 100% real because no one's becoming a fucking Picasso out of the blue without practice. But that happens. People, get these unbelievable talents.
My kids' pictures are pretty close, man.
Yeah, but like musical
putting eyeballs and shit everywhere.
Musical talents and abilities in mathematics and stuff that they never had before. Languages, people, that happens to people. So I'm like, that to me seems more far-fetched than someone being able to project their consciousness somewhere to see areas that they're not in. And we know that sudden savant syndrome is a real thing. It happens to people. And we know some people remote view with some degree of success. So it's, to me, if this is something you can train, focus in, maybe we've just lost touch with that ability. Or maybe some of the times where you're just daydreaming and shit, you are doing just that. You are remote viewing somewhere, another time, realm, dimension. Maybe that's what dreams are. I have no idea. It's all crazy.
It's all fun.
Yeah.
We'll give an update when we're back from Austin, if we find anything. All right, who's this week's Theorite of the Week?
I guess I'm announcing it. This week, we wanted to do it this week because we're heading to Austin. Our good buddy, Thunder Buddy, sent old Sleazy B a pair of shit kickers.
Do you have them handy?
No, they're packed in my. Well, the embarrassing thing about these is they're nice, like off-white. Love them. They're phenomenal. The problem is they're too big, and with the amount of baggage,
you got to wear them down.
I think I'm gonna have to wear them in the airport. Because I don't have enough room in my bag for all the gear and stuff. And I was like looking at it tonight and I'm like, God damn, I'm going to have to pack my runners and wear the cowboy boots through the airport. And I'm going to look like the biggest dork in the world wearing sweatpants and cow shit kickers walking through. And they're like, he must have big feet because they're too big on me.
Got to wear a couple extra pairs of socks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to be uncomfortable, but I'll be new boot scooting all over Austin, Texas, thanks to Thunder Buddy. So I'll be wearing those to the bar meetup, or the pub crawl.
The pair of Daisy Dukes and the Austin 316.
Yeah, I'll be wearing all my finest denim.
Can't wait for you to get pulled aside by the airport security wearing those cowboy boots.
Well, and just wait till he has interactions with the bouncers again. It'll be fantastic.
I'll blend right in.
A different bar every night.
Yeah, we will be. So that's going to work out for us.
That was planned.
It's not. We're not doing that. We're doing that because I'm a liability.
This is true.
And if we go to the same place twice, we may be murdered.
It's also why we're having to do a bar crawl, because even one bar is not going to be enough for one night. It's going to be about 45 minutes and then take a hike.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. This week, the beauties supporting the show, they headed over to alientheorist.com. They clicked the Patreon link. They're getting early access, bonus stuff. You should do the same. And those beauties this week are Stephen Witzel. Oh, I like this advertising. This is well played. A pledge by the Crime Tree podcast. Well played.
Hey, go check them out. They
Check them out.
deserve it.
Why not? Penny Wizenant? I'll say it. I think so. And Chromie Hollywood. Great name.
That's a good name.
Those are the newest supporters of the show. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies. See you in Austin.
That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable. The comfort of your favorite seat is now your comfy car selling command center, thanks to Carvana.
It doesn't get any better than this.
Your favorite seat's the best spot in the house. Make it even better by entering your license plate or VIN and getting a real offer in minutes.
There really is no place like home.
And speaking of home, Carvana will pick up your car from yours after you finalize your offer. Visit Carvana.com or download the app and sell your car from your comfy place.